Hello everyone, welcome for this tutorial, and in this tutorial I want to take you through a mock examination of hotel revenue management related questions. Welcome. First question is when remaining demand exceeds the remaining supply, it is critical that the revenue manager. So obviously this is a question as a revenue manager. So the revenue manager. So the answer here is B, and that is the revenue manager should ensure that the pricing and restoration strategy are set up to drive ADR. Now let me go to another question, question 6. So a competitor can be defined as online as one selling or buying goods and services in the same market as another. What's an example of this in the hotel industry? The answer here is that another hotel, because hotels are competing, so one hotel is competing the other, so it's the competitor there. And now I want to take you to the next question, which is question 7. And in question 7, let's see. What's the question here? The question is, which one of the following is not an example of an online travel agency? So when you see these ones here, we have Agoda.com, it's well-known author. Expedia.com, a well-known author. Bookings.com is also a well-known author. IHG.com, that's an hotel chain. So the answer is IHG. We're moving on to the next question, and that is question 8. So I'm taking you through question 8. And in question 8, the question 8 is pool connectivity can be found predominantly in, and that's the question. So when we have things like boutique, large hotel chains, independent hotel, so pool connectivity is mainly found in large hotel chains. That's the answer. It's found in large hotel chains. The question line here is the best way to compare distribution segments by looking at the best way to compare distribution segment is by looking at the so here the answer is profit per room, profit that each room generates to the hotel or to the hotel chain. That's the answer. I can give explanations later, but I hope you understand that in this tutorial, I made this tutorial simply to answer the questions. In question 10, we are asked that demand that has been limited by rules and restrictions is known as, so it is simply constrained demand. Constrained demand is that demand that has been limited by rules and restrictions. Question 11. The only statistic measured as a percentage is, among the statistics here, because we find that revenue is measured in amount, the RevPAR, and the ADR. So the occupancy is measured in percentage. And as you know that occupancy is simply the sold rooms divided by the available rooms. Maybe times 100, and that's the percentage. Now let's move to the question 12. What type of analysis should be run to determine which piece of business should be accepted over another? What type of analysis should be run to determine which piece of business should be accepted over another? And there in this answer, the answer here is simply displacement. So question 13 is something comprehensive, and I would like to take you through. And it has on the table below, click on the cell that shows the year-on-year change in occupancy for the first quarter of the year. We know that it must be something related to budget occupancy, and this is a question that requires a higher level of precision, and so we need to be accurate. So the correct answer is 588 and 166. So 588 in the x-axis and the 166 in the other coordinate, and in this case where this cell which we are talking about, it's going to place us in which cell, whereby we have the 588 and 166. Again, this is something where we need to be very, very, very accurate, so that we know that 588 is somewhere in quarter 1, which is past March, and it is in between that cell. It is at the junction of March and quarter 1, and in this case it is something which is a bit comprehensive, and right, we're finding it at the junction of the 588 and 166, which means it is at around it's in the cell of quarter 1, and that is at 18,700. Yes, 18,700, just above there. So 18,700 in that cell, and that's where we're going to find our answer. Well, now let's proceed to the next question. That's question 14. And in the question 14, on the chart below, click on the day when unconstrained demand and capacity are equal. Now, we check on the unconstrained demand against capacity. So, we check and we find that it is on Thursday where unconstrained demand meets the capacity. So capacity is in the horizontal scale and the unconstrained demand on the vertical scale. So where do they meet? They meet on Thursday, and that's our answer. Now let's go to question 15. In a room full of service hotel, in a busy CBD location, a large group booking will occupy 80% of rooms for 4 nights. The hotel doesn't often accept group bookings, instead relying on the FIT business that is very strong all year round, particularly this city. Now, in such a question, this question attempts to ask every aspect in your understanding regarding the housekeeping, the restaurant, the front office, and conferencing. So the question simply would like to know what you understand about the 4 main concepts and actually their relationship. So which area of the hotel is going to experience a drop in revenue during this period as a result of this booking? So the area that's simply going to do that is the restaurants, because the restaurants is going to experience a drop in revenue during this period. Well, which area of the hotel is most likely need to additional staff during this period, possibly even temporary agency staff? So the answer here is the conferencing, because the venue is full and the main event is a conference. So that's the only place that requires serious support from all the departments. Let's go. Which area of the hotel is likely to be the busiest of the checkout day for the group? That's simply the housekeeping, because housekeeping is going to be busy during the checkout, because they're going to run all these checks. They're going to ensure that the departure is seamless. They're going to ensure that the rooms are in the best states, and that no guest leaves something or something like that. They are well sorted during that process. And then which area of the hotel will be able to use more streamlined, efficient processes than it usually can during the period the group is there? The answer is simply the front office, because the front office is mandated with all the operations and it needs to be extremely efficient to satisfy the guests well. Okay, we can go to question 16. Use the room revenue statistics below to calculate occupancy. So occupancy is simply the rooms sold divided by the available rooms, then you multiply that by 100. So if we calculate the rooms sold here, which is 350, total the rooms available as 700, so 350 divided by 700 times 100, that will be 50%. And now when we talk about the RevPAR, so the RevPAR here is just the total room revenue divided by the available rooms. So where's the total room revenue? $52,500, and then we'll divide it by 700, and then we find our answer at 75%. So let's come to question 17. And in question 17, use the information below regarding the rooms sold and revenue to complete the set results. To complete the star report for the Friday night, you must provide an answer for each. Must provide an answer for each as a letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I and J. So note that this is a question that requires a lot of calculations. It requires a lot of grasp. I think I'm going to do another video in which I'm going to calculate and also help you in understanding them step by step. So as you can see here, I will just do this very fast. I'll just do it very fast, even though it may not be that simple. But because being an expert in this field, I can take you through very, very fast. So we'll start by my prop that will be an A, and then in the other section of the change, it is an H. Then you go to D, then B, then I, then E, then C. So those are some of this question. I have to do a complete video, and I take you through the process of calculating it so that you understand it very, very well. Let's go to question 18. And question 18, the question is a typically busy resort located near several popular tourist attractions has nearly sold out for an upcoming long weekend. That is, there's a public holiday on a Monday that extends the length of the normal 2-day weekend, despite the long weekend still being okay. Now, this is a question that sets you in that it sets you up to that to the task of a manager, and it also requires that you understand the concepts completely. And I know at this stage of the course you have understood all these concepts, so we can proceed, and I will let you know so that you get to understand the concept very. You understand the concept very, very well. So I think we are going now to in question 21. In question 21, explain 3 characteristics of hotel industry that make it necessary to apply revenue management techniques. So what are these characteristics? We know throughout the course we have learned about the characteristics of the perishability, things like the perishability of the services, and you know that the service is it's available as soon as it's delivered to the guest in the hotel industry. The first characteristics in this case is the fixed cost. Yeah, you have fixed cost and variable cost. So these characteristics, we have the fixed cost and versus the variable cost. So hotels generally have high fixed costs in proportion to their variable costs, mainly labor. That is, a hotel must absorb this fixed cost regardless of the occupancy level. Variable costs for guest rooms include the supply service the room and ever used. So the expense of utilities associated with the guest occupancy and the designated cash reserve towards capital budget for replacing the furniture, for instance. So we have the fixed cost versus the variable cost. We have the fixed capacity. We have the perishable inventory. So these are the main three characteristics of an hotel industry. And at this point, I can submit all the answers for marking so that we see how have we progressed, or whether whatever I was taking you through was it because as you can see it is question 21 out of question 21, so that means that we are through. So when I click the submit and then I confirm the submission, we are going to see what is it that is likely to. So now we have submitted the results, and that's the mock exam 3. And yeah, we can't wait. And as you can see, we have spent that 6 minutes out of 2, which means the grass was so high. So I was just taking you through that. So well, that's it. And I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you have enjoyed the understanding, and yes, so that's it. But then let's see the results. So as you can see, number one, the correct answer in number 1, as you can see, which of the following is not a marked share metric on STI report? And as you can see, the answer is as we did it, is the KPI. So key performance indicators. By analyzing booking space reports, revenue managers are aiming to identify. They're simply trying to identify the results. Okay? They're simply trying to identify the trends. So that's what on the STI report, what number should indicate that you are acquiring your fair share of the market? 100 indicates that you are really acquiring a fair share of the market. When remaining demand exceeds remaining supply, it is critical that as a revenue manager in this case, you must ensure that the pricing and restriction strategy are set to drive the average daily rates. And that's the answer. So in our question 6, a competitor can be defined as one selling or buying goods or services in the same market to another. What's the example of this in the hotel industry? It's simply another hotel. Yes, another hotel is the competitor. Which of the following is not an example of an author? And just as I told you, it is the IHG. IHG is a group of hotels. So, and it's a very, very known brand. Maybe you can try it someday. So, it is not an online travel agency. As I told you in question 8, pool connectivity can be found predominantly in large hotel chains, and that's the answer. So as you can see, we got all our answers right, and as you can see from the points, they are 1 out of 1. Got all of that right. So any question that might have not been as I told you, this other question required a lot of precision, and it was settled at 588 in the x-axis and 166 in the y-axis. Question 14, as you can see that the top left coordinates, we got that very right. 30734, bottom was 374. Again, these are some of the questions that are very, they require a lot of precision. So you have to be very keen while handling them. So I have to mention that to you so that you get to know. Going to question 15, this is just an overview. In question 15, in a room full of service, just as you explained, you've seen that according to the context of the question of the scenario, regarding the questions now, which area of the hotel is going to experience a drop in revenue during this period as a result of this booking? And that was the restaurants, because the rest people are going to concentrate in the conferencing. So the restaurants, they are going to be that down. Which area of the hotel is most likely need additional staff during the period, possibly even using the temporary agency staff? And that was the conferencing, because it's a conference and all the visitors, all the guests are there and they need those services. Which area of the hotel is likely to be the busiest on the checkout day for the group? And that's the housekeeping, as I told you. Yeah, because there are roles in the management of the rooms and all that. Which area of the hotel will be able to use more streamlined and efficient processes than it usually can during the period the group is in-house? And that's the front office. So the front office must ensure that it is seamless. Well, use the room revenue statistics below to calculate, and as you saw, the answer occupancy in A and RevPAR, so we got the occupancy at 50%, the RevPAR was at 75, so the answer, we got the match, perfect matches there, $75 or 75, you still get it. So the other one is 50 or 50%, you still get it. So now in question 17, I think I went so fast, but as you can see, we got everything right. So I think I'm going to do a one whole video, and I'm going to show the right calculations here. Yes, I'm going to show it how it's done. So it requires a full video, so we got all the matches, but then the question is, how do we get it? Well, when we get to question 18, just know these are questions that require explanations, so we can simply refer to the chapters. So to the chapters in our the chapters from our lecture notes. So well, that's I'm almost just done with the overview. So the questions are all here, and we get the answers also all there. So well, we've done very well in this tutorial, and in case you have a question, you can get to me through, maybe I can provide maybe an email address, WeChat ID or something like that. So this is what we are going to do. You are going to get to us. We can always have you a tutor. So, and this tutor will help you for free. So, well, we are here to share the knowledge. We are here to boost understanding in our various courses. So, well, our tutors are always available and for free, because these are some of the volunteers and they are experienced professionals. So don't shy, just contact us, or maybe you can just click and register. So when you register to our website, you'll get a tutor who will help you for free. Thank you very much. Enjoy your time.